It's a brand new week and we are back on the air. This is Breakfast Central. If you just tuned in, we're saying welcome. This is where you get the latest stories, news and current affairs, stories you may have missed, and we'll go inside and deeper into analysis, bringing to you every single part of every single story that you may have missed. My name is Joe Hansen. This is Monday morning's Breakfast Central. We're starting a brand new week, and I do hope that you would have a fantastic week with us as we will take you through Breakfast Central from Monday all the way to Friday. I'm not alone. It's about the team. It's about the gang. It's about the three-man-led Breakfast Central, not just one. Benga Borowa, good morning to you.
Good morning to you, Joe Hansen. I see you had a very nice weekend. I made a request, and when I came this morning, I scanned the car park to see if my request has been fulfilled. But lo and behold, I'm sure you still have.
What's your request, Benga? I want to make a request.
EV. Petrol is too expensive. I need EV. Yes, EV car, electric vehicle, not electric motor car, electric vehicle for Olive and I. So that we can, you are a leader, to boost our morale on this show. Mr. President has already approved the increments in the salaries of servicemen and serviceman and woman on this show. We also need salaries. we need our morale to be boosted. So you know what to do, Joe. Get us those EVs. But beyond that, I'm not really happy this morning.
Why?
Because the Cameroonians, I know Kathleen and Catherine will be happy this morning, but the rest of us will be wearing a sad face because the Cameroonians, after they scored in the 19th minute, imagine 10-time African female AFCON champions, they could not come back. I was disappointed. But, behind every disappointment, there's a silver lining, and the silver lining is if the money that the government would have given them if they won the WAFCON, that money can be used for other, other productive ventures, like sponsoring of weddings. Yes. So that's my 2 cents. But I'm not alone. I mean, oh, no. Olive, I have to say this. You're looking very stunning this morning. It's been back to back. Look at your hair.
Thank God for the hair. The hair is covering a lot of things.
Wow.
But good morning and welcome to Breakfast Central.
How was your weekend?
My weekend was okay. My Monday is starting on a very cranky morning because of a certain person in this office. And the person will collect after the show.
Wow. Watch out.
But your YouTube audience will not be happy to see you.
No, let's not pretend. We don't need to lie. We're very honest on this set. We're very honest on this set. We don't need to tell lies.
You made us smile this morning.
Ladies
good morning.
We present to you Olive M.R.D.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, Olive. Please,
I don't already
for
start.
Papa Wemba.
Who is Papa?
He's one of our Congolese watchers.
Okay. Thank you very much.
I mean, the Super Falcons lost. That's.
How do you feel about it?
They'll be fine.
And I'm sure you wore this green to celebrate their victory.
No, I did not wear it to celebrate their victory. I wore it because...
Disappointed you?
No, I did not wear it to celebrate their victory.
Wear it for your own self.
I wore it for myself. I wish them well. Their money is not entering my pocket. The money they are paying them is not entering my pocket.
Wear it for yourself.
I don't even watch the game anyway. So...
For yourself.
Okay.
Indomitable Lioness and Super Falcon.
I need coffee, actually.
In the jungle.
Let coffee put me in the good mood so that...
In the jungle, do you expect a falcon to defeat a lion?
Now.
That's how we should have As how now.
It doesn't matter. Forget. Like our girls... Let's give them their
team from Squirrels. They say Squirrels is not befitting of their national team. They went to they renamed it to Cheetah. They still collect. So it's not by name change.
It's quite sad. But anyway, welcome. If you just tuned in, this is Breakfast Central. It's your brightest
That's images of Falcons walking back to Nigeria.
Painful.
No, but let's give them their flowers. The fact that they didn't win this one does not mean that they're not good players. For a while, they were the ones that were saving our...
See, past glory is not glory.
No. When you people were trashing Super Eagles at that time, Super Falcons, the Falcons were the golden girls. Do you understand? So let's give them We're not seasonal. If Arsenal fans, for years, Arsenal never carried trophy. You know, yeah, they were still loyal. The loyalty you should give to your team is not dependent on whether they win or whether they lose. So kudos to our girls. Well done. You fought a good fight. It did not lead to you winning, but it's okay. He who loses the fight today lives to try another day.
You know their match bonuses are in dollars. And you are saying they should give them flowers. They've given
Arsenal fans were patient with Arsenal.
Olive, this morning they are saying that the very austerity measure no they reach Olive, but they are tall.
Wow, who said that one?
Imagine if we're
this economy is good. It's good on you.
I said, let me try my best.
This economy.
Let me try my best. So I'll not look like what I'm going through.
This economy.
Let me, just before we start wake up conversations, this fact.
They're asking me what happened. Should I gist them? Should I report?
No.
I should not gist them.
Let's not wash our dirty linen.
Let's not wash our new central dirty linen in public.
Stays in Rome.
Okay, let's not do that.
So before we move into wake up conversations, still on this matter of Super Falcons, because I'm not happy.
Hey, God, I
For whom much is given, much is expected. They are paying in dollars. Just imagine that New Central now decides to start paying me, you, and Joe, because, I mean, we open the show every day. We are what it, appearance fees in dollars, just for appearing on. Do you think we'll still be presenting in such a lakadaska manner?
In fact, the person that
will be presenting like generation.
Do you know that one?
People will not even talk.
Do you know that one? The one that the person that
I will not give you room to talk.
The person that did that thing that annoyed us, that annoyed me this morning. If you like, let the person do it every day. I will come here with a cheerful face and joy. If they annoy me before I go on air, you will never know.
This is your motivation now.
My motivation is dollars.
This is an
I love it.
Oh, Johansson, what are you saying now?
If you like, collect naira.
That's why it's all your own, no, my dear.
Johansson.
Anyway. I'm okay, Chukwemeka, sorry. Say my leave Arsenal alone.
Let's move on.
Millions of dollars, aren't they? But okay.
All in agreement that we move, say aye.
Aye, the ayes have it. Let's move to annoying stories. Sorry, you know, wake up conversation is oftentimes filled with annoying stories. The Kano State government over the weekend spent about 1.5 billion naira on a mass wedding program for 1,500 couples. The initiative, known as Orengata, covered dowries, furniture, mattresses, food items, and even business grants. Supporters say it's a compassionate move to help low-income couples and widows and divorcees as well start families with dignity. Speaking on the reason for the government's action, Kano State Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf has explained that the state government committed over 1.5 billion naira to the 2026 mass wedding program to fulfill a campaign promise and provide comprehensive support to 1,500 newly married couples. But critics are asking tough questions. Why spend billions on weddings when thousands of Almajiri children roam the streets without food, shelter, education? The Almajiri crisis remains one of the most pressing social challenges in northern Nigeria, with children exposed to poverty, exploitation, and a lack of opportunity. Now, this development raises a bigger issue about governance priorities. The question that comes to mind is, should cultural and religious welfare programs take precedence over urgent investment in education, healthcare, and social and child welfare? Let's take a look at the videos.
This is my first marriage. Okay. And I marry, I'm not married widow. I'm married 17 years old. I'm very happy today.
Yanzu na da shekara 55. Matata ce ta rasu, shine kungiyar mu suka dace na ga ba zan iya ba. In ba tallafin gwamnati ba zan iya ba. To da yana daga cikin da aka bude ne dai na ba da sunana aka sana ciki.
Cikin alheri muka yi abin alhamdulillah. Ba kuma cewa aka yi aure wannan ba ne mai tafiye da shekara ɗaya ma ana neman ta Allah kuma ya kawo aka. Mun yi farin ciki mun yi murna wallahi.
Muna addu'a insha Allah Allah ya ba mu zaman lafiya shine abin da mun mara sunan manzo Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Yanzu dai ƙari ne na kuma jira ƙarin da nayi. Na jin dadin sa wallahi. Yanzu mata nawa gare ka? Yanzu? To hadda ita da wallahi uku ne.
So this is a very interesting situation.
And different angles.
Different angles to the conversation. First of all, that first video of the man saying that he's marrying a 17-year-old. I don't know when we will fully, as a country, get over the conversation of child marriage. And how do we draw the line between what is permissible religiously and what is legally and morally unacceptable. Child marriage is still an issue in Nigeria. And if somebody comes and tells you that their bride is 17 years old, in Nigerian law, 17 years old is still a child. A child becomes an adult at the age of 18. So you're seeing little girls who have barely found time to understand themselves, to know how to make a decision. They're already married out. Oh, I can see the caps they're wearing. Very interesting caps there. So that's one. Two, the question is this the most pressing issue that Kano State government has at the moment? There is a governance priority angle that should be highlighted in this conversation. People who cannot afford to make ends meet for themselves, throwing them into a marriage, is that the next best thing to do? Because then from this marriage, we are going to see a provision of a production of children, and you're not going to raise these children with your teeth. You need to be able to afford to cater for these children. So are they also going to train the children that will be born from this marriage? We've often said that religious actions should be allowed to be funded by individuals' preferences. So if you're saying that it's part of a religion, let the churches and the mosques contribute and fund it, and not use state funds. Although this is one of the promises that was made, part of his campaign, and he's been able to deliver on that. So maybe to his people, this is something I probably can't speak because I'm not from Kano State, and I personally don't see the importance of this.
Problem, no they finish. I think we all know that song. Problem, they finish. I really don't understand what the governor is trying to push, but this is not the first time this is happening. This has always happened. But the problem here is, if you check out the United Nations Children's Fund, you find out that UNICEF, yes, you find out that there are 3 states, particularly that contribute to over 10.2, 10.6%, 10.2. No, rather say 16% of the 10.2 million out of school children, and the Kano is part of it. Katsina is there, Jigawa is there. And secondly, you're wedding 1,500 people. He's given Hajj to the widowers. He's given, we hear some of them are going to get houses. Some will just get stipends to go on and enjoy their marriages. But you have out-of-school children populating the entire streets, roaming around with no hopes, nowhere to go. I was worried when I saw one of them said, this is his 3rd wife. Oga, you've been married. You've been married to 1st, 2nd, 3rd. So I think, and I'm going to go back to that popular saying that we've always highlighted here on Breakfast: Nigerians are Nigeria's problem. Secondly, you know carefully that you have an over-bloated issue where children are not well catered to, and here you are adding, because there's no way you're going to get married and you're not going to give birth to more children. And what if the governor leaves power? He's out of office today. How are you going to cater to those kids? Another governor will come, he will repeat the same thing. It's like rinse and repeat, and then that continues to quadruple. You have more children on the streets. I'm thinking, look at the figure, 1.5 billion naira spread across 1,500 people getting them married. If the 1.5 billion naira, just a fraction or a percentage of that money is used to build hospitals, or used to build factories that would inadvertently provide job and also enable people to have work, you think the state wouldn't develop further than what it is? And then you start to wonder, okay, people start complaining, oh no, Lagos, look at Lagos, If the governor of Lagos today, Governor Sanwo-Olu, says, I want to marry 2,000 people, let's be honest, the numbers will be more. But I can bet you that a lot of Lagosians will still kick against that and say, come on now, that's not the priority here. So it's about what priority is in governance. And I really don't know. I mean, the indigents will agree that this is fantastic, but I'm wondering, what was the need of that insignia cap? Is it a President Bola Ahmed Tinubu-led initiative?
Even if it is,
how did it come? I don't think it is.
I mean, it's taxpayers' money.
Taxpayers' money.
So it's very wrong for them to put up a political insignia while spending taxpayers' money on it. It's like doing projects and then slapping your name. No, you didn't do it. It's the taxpayers' funds that is funding.
So if you don't wear this cap, you won't get married.
Billion, exactly. And this is not the only party in Kano State. So it's a mixture of Kwankwasia, the red of Kwankwasia, and then the insignia of President
Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
But I mean, let me just pick up from where you left off in terms of governance priority, like Olive mentioned. When you look at the scale of the problems of the people in Kano, the marriage won't be top 5 or even top 10 of the problems of the indigenes of Kano. But because governance is not in a vacuum, and these are politicians, so they will do things that will appeal to their base. I'm sure there are lots of people that just based on this singular gesture, they would be converted, and they will tell their family members that, look, this party that did this for us is worth voting for. And it's not the first time it's happening. It also happened under previous administration. So we're not APC led. So I guess it's that there's a political move behind that. Having said that, now that the deed has been done, how do you screen out those who really need this? Because we understand that, look, there's a cost of governance issue in Nigeria. How can you be on your third marriage and then you expect the government to... That's just silly. It's entitlement mentality. Why don't you give it to people that are really struggling financially? And then there should be a caveat that, look, we can only sponsor the mass wedding of people who are getting married for the first time. At least you've enjoyed the benefits of wife 1, wife 2. Go and rest, or use your money to take care of wife 3 of your third wife. And I mean, it's just, it is what it is. And I guess the people of Kano know what suits them. But on a general scale, I mean, it tilts towards not prioritizing the welfare of the people, even if, because how many beneficiaries are here compared to more Kano people? Do you know how many primary healthcare centers this would equip the 1.5 billion that has been spent on people's private initiatives? It's something that should be completely private, but this is Nigeria. Things happen.
All right. So now that we've spoken, just to give a little bit more background information, Otengata, I believe it's called Orengata, Marriage for the Privileged, and it's one of the campaign promises made by Governor Kabir Abba Yusuf to marry off people. Is designed to assist the vulnerable, low-income individuals, primarily widows, divorcees, orphans, and spinsters who cannot afford the rising cost of marriage due to economic hardship. So now they're also setting guidelines. One, they do tests for them to ensure that there's no hepatitis, HIV, pregnancy, or what the likes, that there's genotype compatibility. They also sign a no divorce agreement, meaning that they are binding.
Is that not
It's by force. It's by force. You cannot say, I divorce you, I divorce you, I divorce you.
Together,
no,
no man put
you can never put us under. You can never ever put us under.
No retreat.
The groom will sign an agreement promising that no husband can divorce his wife without the formal permission and mediation of the Hisbah board. Now, if a couple violates the agreement and undergoes the divorce, the groom or the responsible party must completely refund the state government for all the money, dowry, and material items
like the mattress
on the wedding. Yes. So there are also empowerment grants. There are financial cash transfers deposited directly into the bride's bank accounts to serve as a startup capital for small-scale businesses. Then home essentials, furniture, attire, inclusive eligibility. Whilst
the way our producer, our director is listening to all these benefits,
he's cuckoo single.
He might just make a move to Kano.
Let me not even lie. She be me too. I'm thinking like this. That anybody that asks me, why have you not married? I'll say this is the reason. We don't have a Orengata provision in Lagos. Kadikpe, they have it now. I will have gone ahead. But on a more serious note, it tells us what we prioritize as a nation. It tells us what is important to us. I don't want to make this a gender issue, but you see all those old men that are capable enough to be able to afford a certain decent quality of life for themselves and go out and work hard and try to make ends meet. And a number of them are going to marry little girls. When will we protect these young girls? When will we protect these little girls who at that age should be thinking of skills that they need to learn to empower themselves, how they can further their education? why our mates are discussing ideas, why the people that our children will compete against, the global best practices that we're looking at, they're not thinking about marriage. They're building things. They're thinking of how to use artificial intelligence to their benefit. Meanwhile, campaign promise is that we will support people to marry 1,500. And I'm not downplaying the fact that there are people who genuinely want to get married but cannot afford it. It's simple. You and your spouse go to the courthouse, get married, and go home.
As simple as
Get married inside your parents' parlor if you cannot afford it. You don't have to do a party. All this mass, the money, to me, it will sit better if you say you are empowering people to start businesses.
5
Which one is
billion.
But there's an empowerment angle there.
no.
Money that will be
Not
deposited
empowerment
into
to
the
marry. No,
Bingo.
not empowerment to marry.
was still-
Empowerment, because who's going to look after their children?
Bingo.
So you empower them to get married. You give the bride 100,000
Well-
naira. You haven't. Some of them have not even learned how to run a business. They haven't been empowered with skills to be able to start a business. That 100,000 naira, what is the guarantee that that money will yield results? Then you bring children and increase poverty alleviation concerns that we
You know,
have.
here the economists, world-renowned economists, will be frankly, they say with 50,000 you can be earning 1.6 in a month.
That's
they
not-
doubled.
I give up.
Please redirect that background, world-renowned. Please remove that world-renowned. Let's see what Nigerians are saying.
Economists.
Let's see what Nigerians are saying very quickly. I think on YouTube, someone says, I'm not sure this mass marriage has anything to do with Islam. I haven't seen it in Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Iran, UAE, etc. Back in Nigeria, we don't see similar things in Oyo, Kwara, Niger, and he said wasted funds, as Michael Zoo said.
Can I respond to that comment and to add to what he has said? That things like this are simply to score cheap political points with the masses.
Can't you see the cap?
Exactly. So that on the day of election, when election comes close, you can say, after all, we are the one that helped you get married. We gave you this amount to set up your homes for you. These are things to score cheap political points. And I wish the masses will wake up. Wake up.
Let's see what Nigerians are saying on X. We'll come back to YouTube. Oliver has got that covered. Dami says ceremony is part of government initiative. He laughs. I don't know if that's how he laughs, but I think that's how he may have laughed, you know. They helped them get married with no job.
Well, they give them, like Gwenga said, if it counts for something, empowerment.
Let's see another one. Brainy says, so which money will they use to take care of the family?
Well,
These are
there's
the
empowerment
issues.
money.
These are the issues. Mr. Bombastic says, I really hate the fact that Nigeria is perceived as a poor nation given the amount of wealth being held by the aristocrats. Ooh, that's deep. And let's mention, Nigeria is not a poor nation, by the way. We're very rich, wealthy. We are indeed blessed. C. Peter says, just imagine the end product of babies after a year. Nigeria federal government must stop this madness called mass wedding and also introduce childbirth control. Okay, St. Vincent says, LOL, I hope they were given financial assistance too. No be to just marry them off. They were, but unfortunately, we don't have an insight into how much was shared, if it was shared equally, because 1.5 billion is a whole lot of money. But let's move on now to our next story before we actually call it a wrap and then go straight to YouTube and also read your comments. Over the weekend, this story was indeed trending everywhere. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, many have said, finally, they did see him come out. It's been a long time. Well, over the weekend, personally, he came out to inspect the Festac Alakija Bridge following reports of vandalism on the structural foundations of the bridge, a development that has sparked public concerns by Lagosians. The governor, accompanied by contractors and state officials, carried out an on-the-spot assessment and assured residents that the bridge remains structurally sound and safe for motorists and pedestrians. He commended security agencies for their swift intervention, noting that some suspects have already been arrested, while others are being pursued. Governor Sanwo-Olu condemned the act of vandalism as criminal and unacceptable, warning that anyone caught destroying public infrastructure will face prosecution. Meanwhile, contractors handling the Alakija Bridge construction have debunked the vandalism claims as well, insisting it's part of ongoing construction beneath bridge. All right, but this is a video that you get to see. That's the governor. Bear with us. Some of the images are not that clear, but some are. This story actually came up over the weekend. There were videos circulating online. The Commissioner of Environment also showed, put up this video on his page, showed how some of the bridges were indeed one way or the other, affected by vandals. There's these people they call iron condemn.
Iron condemn.
Iron condemn.
Condemn, yeah.
You know, they go around picking up irons. I also saw another video. I wish I was able to share that with our producer earlier on, of one who just walked around a neighborhood and he found the manhole, the big iron that blocks the manhole. You saw that?
CCTV.
Yes, CCTV camera. And he walked past and he stopped. He came, he tested the manhole if he could pull it out, and he saw he could pull it out. And what he did next was he arranged his carriage, and then came back and then pulled out the manhole, and off he went. And this is what we see in Lagos. I think Lagos has a peculiar problem. Until the Lagos State governor and the government as a whole in Lagos State come to sit down and agree that you have too many people in the state, in Lagos, too many people who have no business being here, and too many people walking around the streets becoming authorities. We have what they call unassigned or known authorities.
Miscreants.
These guys are forming a government, a pseudo government. I remember when a popular figure came out and said they want to form a shadow government, Benga. And you remember
Professor Patu told me.
Professor Patu told me.
Look at this image.
Look at that image.
Is it the contractors that did that?
No, they've pulled off all the irons and they're going to do more and ensure that they leave that particular space empty by taking the irons away.
I wish we have the video of what the governor was saying to hear him out.
That's
because part of the concerns, if it's, yes, this particular video, if we can hear when the governor, if our producers can help fast forward to when the governor was speaking, because what happened here was that the governor took a team and they went to monitor and inspect what had been happening. Unfortunately, this video is not as clear as it should be, but you could see the thing looked like it had been, you know, when you've had an accident and the person's skin has peeled. That's how the bridge looked. If you saw the video clearly, you could see the irons poking out of it. And do we have the audio or do we just go ahead, producers? All right. So part of, if we can fast forward to where the governor was speaking, but part of what the governor had said was that, look at it, very terrible. So these scavengers have stolen and have rendered this bridge, you know, the fear that people had was the fact that how can we guarantee the integrity of this bridge with all of these things stolen? Now, in the video, Governor Babajide Olusola had then said that, you know, he's guaranteeing them that the bridge is still fit for purpose. They will look for the miscreants who had caused it. And my first thought was, I don't know that the governor has a background in structural engineering. I don't know that he's a structural engineer and can conduct an on-the-spot assessment and determine the integrity of the bridge.
He inspected with contractors. They were on site.
Well, I saw them. I didn't see. So I want to hope, but I don't know. We didn't see them doing any sort of. I would
tests.
Exactly. I would think that there will be some tests. I don't know that you can use your eye to gauge and see whether the bridge is still functional.
But have you seen the updates? The update this morning, as well as published by the National Television Authority, they went on to say that contractors handling this particular bridge have debunked vandalism claims. They insist it's part of ongoing construction beneath bridge. So
where is the lack of communication? Because the governor is saying one thing, they are saying another thing.
Yes.
Why are we always going back and forth?
I mean, there's obvious vandalism.
There is, whether we like it or not. There is.
They are working on the bridge, and the bridge is looking like
Can you see the
dump site?
Can you see the heap of dirt there?
I mean, very unsightly, and you think it's an active construction site.
Could it be a case that
doesn't look like an?
Could it be a case that the contractor wants to save face? Because if the governor. On the fact that
this is between.
Anyway, let's listen.
Alakija and going towards Straight Fair, right? This bridge, this particular one, is a detour that goes into Festac Town, right? That goes into Festac Town, and all of the land and abutment you see here are under Federal Housing Authority, which is the FHA. But this bridge goes into Festac Town. I'm sure you're all witnesses to some viral video that were on in the last 24 hours or so. Well, I want to first commend the men of the Lagos State Police Command the RRS and the Lagos State Task Force. Some of their commanders are here, the Neighborhood Watch, and of course members of the CAI. These are all complementary security forces that we use interchangeably in the state. And I can see that this whole incident was escalated by
You may say, what country? You the pack the tea, they break this one up. They break the wall. You say the pack the tea. See what they take you on. God go punish. Eddie Mu Emma your law.
I think this should be a wake-up call to the governor of Lagos State, His Excellency Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, and of course the commissioners. Lagos is slowly becoming not the mega city any longer. We have to say it the way it is. Have you seen the populace, the population of individuals roaming the streets? You now have possibly, if care is not taken, a population forming a pseudo-government. They are in charge. They handle traffic. They tell people how to move. They vandalize at free will. And guess what? In some instances, nothing is done. I was watching Breakfast Extra this weekend, an extension of Breakfast Central, Mazzino, and of course Queen. And they had a guest who said he was attacked in traffic. And guess what? Not far off, the police officers were just there watching him, and they did nothing. That the boys came with pistols, and they told him, wind down, bring your phones. He said how he escaped, he doesn't want to say it, but he had to find his way because he drove a very strong car, and the door was heavy, and he was able to hit one of them. But how many Nigerians have that mindset, that courage,
I would advise you not to even
don't even try that. But this is someone who said he had it, he was fed up. Every single place you go to in Lagos, you have these miscreants locking all over the places, the streets. We know Lagos is opened. The commissioner has been here, he has spoken tough about how they've tried. But the point is, I always say this, if you don't see something as an emergency, then you will not attend to it.
And if you don't nip it immediately,
you wouldn't.
It's going to snowball into something that might even be bigger than
it's a crisis
to handle it. It's a crisis, and these things just didn't happen overnight. It's been building up, and they've become more emboldened, and there are multiple layers to this. I mean, for that Alakija Bridge, I think it's also an indictment on the governor there was talking about the complementary security outfits we have that assist
the full force,
the neighborhood watch, and also the residents. The infrastructure is for you, is for your benefit. Why wasn't an alarm raised? What were they looking at till it got to this point? And I don't understand what NTA means by the contractor says they are ongoing, that vandalism. Or look, I'm not an engineer, but I don't understand what's going on there. The clear cases of vandalism, like the other gentleman that they apprehended. It's a multiple failure. It's multiple failure on different levels. And Nigerian Constitution, unfortunately, the Lagos State government cannot decide to deport or remove Nigerian citizens from their states to other parts. What they can do is maybe in the future do an anti-vagrancy law. I mean, that people that have no stable job or fixed income and wander from place to place, often depending on charity, begging, and odd jobs, should not be entitled to certain things in the state or cannot live in the state.
No, that one is not possible.
At the same time, I don't want to agree.
That one is not possible because you're looking at the state of the quality of life of Nigeria.
Quality of life.
The quality of life is difficult. Let's not sugarcoat it or downplay it. Where there's poverty, several kinds of evils abide. So there is poverty. There is a challenge with the quality of governance that we're experiencing as a people. I mean, this is the same country where people are experiencing difficulties, but instead of empowering them, we're helping them to get married so that they can give birth to more poor babies and we'll have more poor people.
More impoverished.
So we already have a poverty problem. That is one. Then two, we have our moral compass is broken because there are people within that community that saw these scavengers stealing these things and made no reports. In fact, they were even probably part of the business. So the question is, how can we make scavenging less attractive? Are there ways in which we can make it impossible for them to sell these irons by the time they realize there's no business there? Because the reason they're going there to scavenge is because they're trying to steal so they can sell and make some money. So if there's a way we can ensure that scavenging loses any form of appeal, that there is no money. I mean, the governor has said that the bridge is safe. I want to hold on to that because I did see the people with the governor, and I believe that the contractors are there with him and the structural engineers. I do hope they have conducted a proper integrity test to confirm that, because what we don't want to hear is, God forbid, later something happens to that bridge, and then we say this could have been avoided if it was properly and thoroughly checked.
And just before we move on, the biggest elephant in the room for me is the welfare and the economics of the Nigerian people. Until our politicians prioritize policies that would lift people out of poverty, that would make Nigeria industrialize and get able-bodied men into paid employment, unfortunately, we'll continue to see this sort of things. It's because the idle mind is the devil's workshop. Human beings want to survive by any means necessary. So until you get working men of military-grade age, productive in jobs, in farms, everywhere, we'll continue to see this.
And we need to have a full top story.
We have a serious poverty problem.
A full top story will be how to deal with the Agberu menace in Nigeria. That should be a full top story.
We're having that tomorrow.
Because why we will not get rid of them, unfortunately, I hate to announce to the both of you, and I'm sure you already know, is because these thugs are instruments of political manipulation that will be used during the elections to ensure that they further the agenda of whichever political party they align with. So I don't know how we're going to get out of the mess that we found ourselves in.
It's a big problem. And just to mention very quickly, Lagos realized 1.87 trillion naira in IGR in 2025. That's 18% compared to 1.5 trillion naira that it got in 2024. We need to do more. We'll go straight to our headlines right now on Breakfast Central. Let's see what our top stories are this morning on a Monday here on Breakfast Central. As we begin ahead of Osun governorship election, a lot has happened. A former governor saying he supports the current governor. SERAP demands presidential candidates' asset declaration. Is it possible? How and what do your current, or you could say your president's own? Analyzing Nigeria's debt profile. That's one story we'll look into. In case you do not know, the debt profile has risen. Decongesting custodial centers. That's another topic to look into. And then we'll look at the front pages of the newspapers. Hopefully, we do have some very interesting guests coming into the studios. Stay with us. This is Breakfast Central.
Nigeria's debt burden is coming under fresh scrutiny after the federal government spent 3.14 trillion naira servicing its domestic debt in just the first 3 months of 2026. Data from the Debt Management Office shows that 2.97 trillion naira of that amount went to interest payments, while 169.68 billion naira covered principal repayments. And the pace of spending accelerated significantly through the quarter from 741.82 billion naira in January to 967.67 billion naira in February, before hitting 1.43 trillion naira in March alone.
What makes the figure particularly significant is that 2.97 trillion naira, about 94.6% of the total, went to interest payments rather than paying down the principal. The government paid 1.96 trillion naira in interest on federal government bonds and about 1 trillion naira on treasury bills, with Nigeria's public debt now at 159.35 trillion naira. The federal government is projecting $11.6 billion in debt service cost for 2026. The pressure on the government finances is becoming harder to ignore. The question is how much of Nigeria's revenue is being consumed by the cost of existing debt, and does that leave room for development and essential public services?
Well, to help us make sense of these figures and what they mean for Nigeria's economy, we're joined by economist Dr. Simon Sampson. Dr. Simon, thank you so much for making it a date with us.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
All right, good morning. 3.14 trillion naira spent servicing domestic debt. I mean, in just 3 months. What do you make of that? Isn't that a huge figure? And at what point does debt servicing become a serious threat to the government's ability to fund the economy rather than simply a normal cost of borrowing?
Nigeria has the huge problem of debt servicing. It has been a problem for a while. At the time, we were even doing 96% of government revenue in debt servicing. So the numbers have even improved a little bit under the current government, but it's not yet the uhuru because we're still doing way above the ceiling that has been recommended by the IMF. What is recommended for an economy like ours is 30% of your revenue at most should be used for debt servicing. With the last, in recent times, particularly under this government, the best we have had is 40.8%. And now it has even exceeded that. We're doing more than 50% of our revenue in debt servicing. It's a huge problem. It's a big problem for Nigeria. And that's why sometimes our leaders will tell you that because if you juxtapose the debt service to revenue ratio, which we're doing badly, to the debt stock to GDP, which we are not doing badly there. If you look at, in terms of if you find the ratio of our debt stock per GDP, we're doing something less than 40%, which is moderately okay. So the problem is actually debt service, and that's why many people in government have been claiming that Nigeria has a revenue problem, not a debt problem. But if you ask me, it's both ways, because these debts are accumulating, and by the way, our debts are not low, they're just moderate. So we're not in the all clear. We're still not doing perfectly okay when it comes to debt stock. But the major problem is debt service. And people like Taiwo Oyedele were brought into government to see how we can shore up government revenue. Sadly, we're still struggling to even meet the revenue targets for the budget, let alone to even bring down these debt burdens.
Oftentimes, the government always cites GDP to debt ratio, saying, you know, we're not as bad as other countries that are borrowing more. They'll point to the example of the United States. Does that hold water? And as we speak, there are talks of the government going to shop for more borrowing. Why do we need, what's the need to borrow? What can we do differently to reduce this debt burden? Because it's getting to an alarming level.
Well, I think it's disingenuous to compare Nigeria with America. America has the reserve currency of the world. The dollar is responsible for 2/3 to 3/4 of the reserve currency of countries around the world. So they have this advantage, an unfair advantage, as some people call it. The same way with Nigeria, when it comes to clearing our domestic debt, it is going to do harm to the economy, of course, but the Nigerian government cannot default in paying back domestic revenue since it has a central bank and is a domestic currency that they can print the way they were doing under Buhari. Even though it may be an abuse of the law, but we know how things are done here. But the major problem is the external debt, which is in dollars, and we don't have the capacity to print dollars. We have to earn these dollars, whether by export or by remittances or by investment or any other means that we can generate, which is not within our powers. So we should not be comparing ourselves to the United States. Then, even though the United States is having debt burden, debt stock to GDP of more than 100%, and we're doing less than 40%, we are still disadvantaged because, as some people normally say, this GDP doesn't pay back debts. It's actually use your revenue to pay back what you're owing. For the United States, the debt service is next to nothing, at least compared to what we're having in Nigeria. So it's a huge problem for us. And we shouldn't always be bringing up the fact that our debt stock to GDP is okay, because that is not the problem.
GDP doesn't pay debt, as you said. So what do we need to do to improve our debt burden?
Everybody borrows, so we cannot say that we'll stop borrowing, but it should be done in a sustainable way. And then we have to tackle the problem of debt servicing. We have to find ways to generate more revenue. We have to find ways for the government to generate more income. And I'm not asking the government to increase tax rates or increase tax burden on Nigerians. They have to widen the tax net. They have to make sure that the tax administration is as efficient, as cost-effective as possible, so that every time that is being earned through taxation is being utilized and not being wasted along the way. So if we have this major problem of tax revenue to GDP, which is around 10%, and is bad, even compared to our West African peers. We're doing terribly badly when it comes to that. We need to do something about it. And by the way, I have to emphasize, I'm not asking the government to increase tax rates or to increase tax burdens on Nigeria. There are different mechanisms you can use to show up your revenue without punishing the people that are enduring so much poverty.
Conversation about increase in tax. Let's talk about the spending jump.
Electricity tariff is going off.
Yeah.
Well, fair point. And chances are we'll see it in other areas. Spending has jumped sharply. It's reaching now 1.43 trillion in March alone. What could have explained that sudden spike? And does this maybe suggest that the government's debt to service burden could become even heavier as the year progresses?
Well, the servicing of these debts, it might have increased quarter on quarter, but on the whole, we're not doing way higher than a lot, if you juxtapose that with previous recent quarters. We're not doing so badly. The debt servicing percentage for this year is expected to inch up maybe by 50 basis points compared to last year. But compared to 2024, it has actually ballooned from 40.8 to 53.7. So, and according to projections by IMF and World Bank and others, it's expected to even reduce slightly by next year, maybe to 53.4 or so. So I don't think the jump should, I don't think is something that we expect it to reoccur, unless if something out of the blue happens. But if the current trajectory is to be maintained, that is, we're even expecting it to ease a little bit by next year.
Okay, so in other words, let's just, let me ask, two-part question. First question, should Nigerians panic? Should Nigerians panic? Because everyone hearing since over the weekend, Nigerians are reactive. They're talking about how it's going to be a tougher economy. So should Nigerians panic, if at all?
I don't think panic is the right word to use.
Okay.
Should we be worried?
We should be concerned. We should be concerned that the debt burden is, particularly the debt servicing, is getting out of hand. And if the more money you dedicate to servicing your debt, the less money you have for most important things like education, healthcare, infrastructure, and social safety nets. So I think we should be a little bit concerned that we're spending more money servicing debts. And what is even sad is that virtually everything that we use for debt servicing is used to only pay the interest. We are hardly touching the principal. That is a major concern. Maybe we should panic about that particular one, that the entire money being used to service debt is just to pay interest. Almost everything, 94.6%. So technically, we are not even paying back the principal. And I know there's this, we have news around that the Tinubu's government has doubled our debt, if you look at it in terms of naira. And then if people in government want to downplay it, they put it in terms of dollars. I think all of them, I think both sides are being disingenuous in the sense that I think domestic debt should be indicated in naira, while foreign or external debt should be in dollars. And if you look at the two like that, it may not seem as bad compared to the naira value, which has gone from around 30 trillion in the first quarter of 2023, 30 trillion. We're talking about 159 now. So it has increased by more than times 5. But if you look at it in terms in dollar terms, the increase is just by less than 2 billion. So I think if you look at it both ways, you're not just really being straightforward. So for the domestic debt, it has increased from 30 trillion to 87.4, which is an increase of 57 trillion, which is not good. But if you look at it in terms of external debt, it has gone in the first quarter of 2023 to the first quarter of 2026. It has gone from 42 billion to 51 billion, which is an increase of around 9 billion. So for the domestic debt, I think, and if you look at the ballooning, particularly in 2023, was because of the ways and means loans that the previous government borrowed that was that was added to the debt stock. So it's not like Tinubu actually borrowed this money. A lot of the borrowing was done before he came. And to be fair to him, if you incorporate that ways and means, the debt stock on his watch, the domestic debt stock, has increased by something in the region of 20 trillion. So 20 trillion domestically, and then 9 billion in external debt doesn't seem as bad as people using the Naira value, and doesn't seem as good as people using the dollar value of the total debt stock.
Now, Dr. Sampson, you mentioned that word, the principle, that this huge amount of taxpayers' funds is only going to pay the interest, rather, not even touching the principal. And this is quite alarming. It's almost like we borrowed money from loan sharks and we're going to forever be in this debt cycle. Please, can you educate our viewers on, if we're paying trillions and billions on the interest, when are we going to now get to the principal? Because it seems like we're only scratching the surface. And the second part of my question is, in the past, we got a Paris debt cancellation, relief under President Obasanjo. And since then, we've been facing issues of climate change, COVID, things that we didn't bring upon ourselves, that, force measures. We've also had the Russia-Ukraine crisis, we've had the Iran war, and all of this. Won't that make a good case for us to please go and beg them again that please, can you forgive us for we know what we're doing?
Well, in terms of the first part of your question, in terms of servicing our debt, I think, like I mentioned earlier, it's really a cost. Let me use your word now. If you panic about that, it's not good, it's indicting, and it means we're digging ourselves further into a hole.
Is it the conditions of the loans? Because I don't understand. If you're paying back interest, at what point will you get to the principal?
Well, that means you have to do more to not only clear the interest, but to pay the principal. So we have to do more in terms of our debt side. But for now, I think the government is trying to postpone this payment. They want to deploy as much resources as possible to tackle problems. Because if you're trying to pay back the principal as much as you want, it means less and less money for you to do anything as a government. So they're trying to delay that part in a bid to solve problems domestically, hoping that things will improve and they'll be able to pay the principal down the line. But it's kicking the can down the road. And that responsibility might not even be on the current government. They may be out of power when people will be struggling to pay back the principal. So it's not really good if you look at it. It's just delaying the evil day. So we should do everything possible to pay back the principal as well as interest in a bid to make ourselves better when it comes to our credit rating and better when it comes to terms of our loans when we borrow from either bilaterally or multilaterally, or even from by commercial means. If you look at the borrowing commercially, has larger interests, which we tend to do a lot of now. And I think we should, as much as possible, reduce that because it's making the interest to be completely out of hand. Then the second part of your question, remind me, please. The second part of the
debt
question.
forgiveness.
Debt forgiveness, yes. We did that under Obasanjo, and I think we enjoyed it for a little bit. But even at that time, I remember many people were skeptical. They were afraid that if the debts would be forgiven, the money that should have been paid back will not be utilized efficiently. And sadly, that is exactly what happened largely. We became irresponsible again in terms of recklessly borrowing, in the sense that we borrow and we hardly see tangible results for this borrowing. What we see is not commensurate to the lots of money that we have borrowed. So I think the world will even be more skeptical now than they were under Obasanjo 2005, 2006, 2007, when those loans were cancelled. So we have to really bring our persuasive powers. We have to deploy all our persuasive powers, convince them why what happened 20 years ago when the debt was cancelled, we embarked on borrowing sprees and accumulated so much debt that the same thing will not be repeated, and the Nigerian people will really feel the impact of debt forgiveness this time around. But it's going to be more Herculean, it's going to be more difficult than when it happened under Obasanjo. And we had somebody like Okonjo-Iweala then. I don't think we have somebody like that in this government that can actually approach these lenders and convince them. I don't think we have such a person with the charisma, with the gravitas, convince the world that, yes, you can actually forgive our debts and you can be rest assured that this money will be used well and it will impact the Nigerian people.
Convincing is one thing, and the optics is the other. Because the world is much more like a global village than what it was back then with the advent of social media, I'm sure.
You can't believe in larger than life.
Exactly. These loaners can actually see what is being done and how the citizens are reacting to it. But I have a two-part question I want you to answer very quickly as soon as you can, because we're running out of time. Just recently, we also have the issue of oil-backed loan refinancing. I'm sure you're also aware of that. From the time of the former late President Muhammadu Buhari down to now, we're also told that there has been an approval for the borrowing of over $4.5 billion, again, using Nigeria's oil reserves to do that, per day, per barrel, rather. That's one. How can this impact on the current situation we're faced with now, using oil for exchange in terms of borrowing? Secondly, the CBN also continues to celebrate its foreign exchange reserves. I mean, we're celebrating that we surpassed 52.5 billion in July. Why are we celebrating the foreign reserves, and yet it's not impactful in the lives of every single Nigerian? I mean, let's see if you can break that down, especially for the man who's watching from home and needs to understand why.
Well, recently, NEC, Nigeria Economic Council, sat and decided to refinance Project Gazelle. We got this some years ago, and the reason why we got this crude oil-backed loan was because we wanted to clear a backlog of foreign exchange that the Nigerian state was not able to provide for investors. And that was affecting our credit rating, that was affecting investment, and they also wanted to build up our foreign exchange reserves. And I think they have succeeded in that regard. I cannot attribute it largely to that. I cannot say that's the reason why the foreign exchange reserves got better and we're largely able to clear the backlog. But I know that the reason why they borrowed the money, those problems are largely tackled. We have almost cleared all the backlog except for some questionable ones. Then in terms of our foreign exchange reserves, we're doing net reserves of 3 billion at that time. We're talking about more than 40 billion now. And even if you look at the gross reserves, we have done incredibly well for ourselves. So now that they are refinancing this particular loan, and the reasons given are the same foreign exchange reserves, and then there's an added one which is about infrastructure. So we just hope that this money will be used for the purposes for which they are meant for. And that we're going to see results the way we saw results the last time this Project Gazelle loan was embarked upon. Then for the foreign exchange reserves, these foreign exchange reserves are buffers. The Nigerian state uses it to show that it has the capacity to meet up with its obligations. That improves credit rating. That makes us able to borrow on favorable terms, more favorable terms than before. And it means that investors also will be less scared because investment is a coward, is afraid of taking so much risk. So it's demonstrating to these investors that they have less worry because our foreign exchange reserves are bigger and bigger. And we're able to meet up with our import bills too. So Nigerians might say that they are not seeing results of these bigger foreign exchange reserves, but the truth is the results are there. Our exchange rate is largely stable. And one of the reasons is because of the foreign exchange reserves. Maybe we would have exceeded the 2,000 that we are approaching when we came to power. And we are doing largely within the band that is largely stable. So it's because, one reason is because of the foreign exchange reserves too. So Nigerians might say that maybe poverty has increased, misery has increased, but I think that's about the translation of some of these economic wins that the Tinubu government has seen. I think they need to do more to make sure that all these things are translating to better lives for all Nigerians. They have to be intentional. They should not wait for market forces to trickle down some of these benefits.
Well, thank you so much for joining us this morning, Doctor. We look forward to more conversations and we'll continue to track the development of the story. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Let's now share what's coming up next on Breakfast Central. Coming up next, we're looking at the Osun governorship poll. Oyinlola-led PDP adopts APC candidate Almajiri. SERAP demands assets declaration, vote buying pledge from 19 2027 presidential candidates. Participatory Democracy Electoral College unveils youth and election education games. Stay with us.
With just 5 days left to the Osun governorship election, concerns are mounting over the safety of voters, political parties and election officials following a series of violent incidents across the state. The APC and Accord party separately claimed that a combined 18 of their members have been killed during the electioneering period, although the figures have not been independently verified as a single death toll. A civil society tracker, Kimpact Development Initiative, separately recorded 44 election-related violent incidents and 13 fatalities between October 2025 and June 2026.
With the August 15 poll approaching, authorities have deployed about 15,000 police personnel across the state. While some stakeholders say the deployment is necessary to prevent further violence, others fear that such a heavy security presence could intimidate voters and amount to militarization. The key question now is whether the security deployment can protect lives and votes without creating fear, while preventing political violence from escalating before, during, and after the elections. Joining us as we delve deeper into this conversation is the Director of Strategic Communications in Imole Campaign Council, Honorable Jamiu Olawumi, and Osun State APC Director of Media and Information, Magaji Kola Olabisi, who will be joining us later. Good morning, sir. Thank you very much for joining us.
My pleasure. Good Monday morning.
Good morning. Let's begin with the most disturbing issue. Both the APC and the Accord have claimed that their members have been killed, 10 according to APC, and 8 according to Accord Party. What is your party doing to establish the facts and ensure that these deaths do not trigger reprisals and that these deaths, the perpetrators of these actions are brought to justice?
Thank you very much. It's worrisome that election that is supposed to be carnival-like because we are brothers is turning out to be what we are getting now. However, let me tell you this, and the world this. What we are expressing in Osun is not violence orchestrated by the state government, but by the movement of politicians who were in 2022 tagged by the Solar administration as the mastermind of killings during the governorship and presidential election of 2023 in Osun State. Most of them have had their dates in court, and they have now crossed to APC. What we have among them is some followers refusing to move with them to their new party, APC, and infighting among the groups of people who are loyalists of those who have become to APC. And if you also look at the scene of attacks and the scene of the incident, you will find out that majority of this happens in the two federal constituencies in Osun East Central District, and that's where you have PDP honorables and senators crossing from their party to APC. In other areas of the state, other parts of the state, hardly could you find this type of restiveness among politicians in those areas. So if an account of the number of deaths that we have recorded in Osun is analyzed, you see preponderance of these deaths and incidents of attack, molestation, harassment coming up from Osun East Central District, most especially Ijesha South Central District that comprises of Ilesha West, Ilesha East, Atakunsa West, Atakunsa East, and Obokuriadi Federal Constituency that has Obokun local government and Oriadi local government. These have the gladiators who have joined the PDP, who have joined APC from the outside party, the PDP.
Okay.
The photograph, the moving picture you have there is that of Commissioner for Environment, Mayo Adejorin, who was harassed 2 days ago, stripped naked, and taken to the police. And that is also leading this submission into the roles of Nigerian police. Nigerian police, if we go to the Nigerian police of Osun State now, under Gotham, the Commissioner of Police, he has a lot of questions to answer. Okay.
When you say he has a lot of questions to answer, I want to believe you're talking about the former CP, Gotham. Is that right?
The Gotham is still there. There's an election CP. Election CP is a subordinate officer in rank to Gotham. So, and police system is command system. So we don't, we have not seen much from the election commission.
But the IG came up this past week, just a few days ago rather, and said that he heard the cries of your party and the community, and that's why he made the swift change by relieving Gotham of a lot of things that had to do with the elections, and then bringing in, of course, a new commissioner to look into it. Are you confirming to us this morning that it wasn't done properly, or it's just possibly a smoke screen?
We are trusting that we shall see the dividends from today.
Okay, all right. Let me go.
As at yesterday, we are yet to see.
When you say we're yet to see, what do you mean that we're yet to see? There's still violence.
Because within the last 72 hours, a serving commissioner was arrested by police orderly of a serving senator of PDP. And it took us more than 72 hours before we could secure his release. So perhaps the dividend has started to come, but we are yet to see it.
Okay. My question to you now is, we've heard of attacks. Each party has accused the other party of some attacks. What evidence does your party have? Do you have video evidence, picture evidence, linking political opponents of the other party to the violence that you've talked about? Do you have evidence?
Yes, there was there are a lot of evidence. There was an incident in SLK where somebody was murdered, and it was in the news that this man used to be an associate or a follower or a loyalist of Serving Honorable Wole Oke of Obokun Oriadi Federal Constituency in the Senate, who incidentally now is the Director General of Campaign of APC in Osun State. He left PDP to join APC. The argument, even from the audio recorded of the wife and the children when the incident happened, they said they accused the Honorable of the mastermind of the killing of their father and their husband. So we have a lot like that. This is not a forum where I'll be sharing videos and all those things. And I think your man on the feed here will have those videos.
Okay. No, all right. Are you there? Okay, you're there.
Now,
Let's
Honourable Olawumi, let's talk about the coming elections in Osun State. It's almost like a very high-stake elections, and we've reported deaths and incidents of violence, which shouldn't be, like you said. It should be like a carnival atmosphere. It's a civil exercise, and people should be free to go about exercising their franchise. However, the reality is different. Another source of concern is the money politics. I did stumble upon a video over the weekend. I can't confirm the authenticity of it, but what was going on in the video was that some individuals were handing cash to citizens of Osun State, asking them to swear an oath that they would vote for Governor Adeleke come Saturday. What's your response to that? Is the Accord Party also playing in the arena of, voter inducements with bread, with monetary, with money, and what do you make of it?
And the other food items. So thank you. Politics is local. And in that video, in that acclaimed video, you cannot even see the insignia of Accord Party.
But you could hear what they were saying.
People act drama to make videos, and people create scenes to justify their positions. This is a bread which you can bake, obtain label from a printer and attach to it to make points. I'm not saying that some people could not do that, but it's going to be misplaced when you say it is a court party or the instruction of the governor to come and to go and do it. Politics is local. In their local area, it is something the government or the governor cannot control. So, and vote buying, we should also be looking at a time frame for vote buying, because people are doing a lot of interventions, even before now. So interventions done 3, 4, 5, 6 months ago, can we say that is a vote buying when we are not even sure of the date of the election? So what is germane here? It is the election umpire and possibly the EFCC or whoever to tell us within the range of time when we can say this is a vote buying. I think it should be another national discourse on when, from what and what time is vote buying, from when and what time is intervention and making people live well within the community through food distribution. All parties have always distributed food, especially during festivals.
So that means
all those things are branded.
Okay, so we're not getting rid of that anytime soon. Our politics is such that we must be comfortable with the idea that people will print their pictures, the pictures of their political party on bread, on 5 kg bag of rice, and we should accept that this is normal behavior. Is that what you're saying, sir?
Let me tell you, I'm a little bit of age, and I've participated in elections before now. The issue of vote buying is a discourse that should be interrogated with our past in political activities. In 1979, I didn't vote, but I was a good watcher. But I voted in 1983. And I remember when people are voting, some party men will fry pop-off and buns and akara to let people eat because they are standing in the sun. So it's a new lexicon by the European Union and modern-day crusaders.
No, but I mean,
people
this
continue to help their fellows, give them food, irrespective of time.
But this is 40 years later. Don't you think we should have evolved beyond that level? And this is perhaps a weaponization of poverty.
I mean,
that is where we'll now take it to the government.
All right, let's
share this video as well. Olive, sorry, let's just share this video. Our producer put out a video. Maybe after the video, I think Olive would like to bring in the next guest. Just look, take a look at this.
Kọjá fáwọn èèyàn mi o ẹ̀yin ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun ìsọ ibẹ̀ ní èèyàn dáadáa ní Oyèbámijí ṣe ti rí báyìí wọ́n ní kí n jẹ́ fáwọn èèyàn ṣe ti rí oúnjẹ ìwọ̀n rèé ní ẹtùgbẹ́dẹ ìgbógbó Ọ̀ṣun ẹtẹ̀bọ̀ fún Mùnírùdíìnì Oyèbámijí aṣíwájú òun ní ọ̀bọ̀ wa yóò tọ́jú wa tọmọtọmọ ní ìtọ́jú wa ẹ̀rí báyìí ẹ̀kú mọ́tò kí ẹ má bá ń kó nulẹ̀ gbogbo ẹ̀yìn èèyàn ní ọjà tó ti dé o. Ọkọ rẹ ti fún mi ní owó ó ti bá ń sẹ́ẹ̀dì owó àwọn ní nǹkan ṣe ẹ̀ẹ́dẹ̀ ní wọlé.
There you have it. So we have the APC Director of Media and Information, Mogaji Kola Olabisi, who unfortunately cannot join via video due to the network challenges, but is joining us via phone call. Good morning, Mr. Olabisi. Before you joining, we played the video. I don't know if you could hear that, the audio from that video of a woman who was sharing bags of rice, encouraging people to vote Oyèbámijí. And the question now is, have we now settled that our politics is one of convincing the population to vote for whoever the political candidates are, because we're inducing with bags of rice and oil and bread with labels? Shouldn't our politics have evolved beyond this standpoint? Mr. Olabisi, are you with us on the phone? Okay, while we're trying to re-establish connection with him, let's go back to Mr. Honorable Olaumi. You've seen that video, and of course, that is, you have said that this is what our politics has become, and it's been like this for years. But we wonder if, like they say, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. But let's now come to the election proper. We have a few days. Today is the 10th. We have 5 more days to the gubernatorial elections in Osun State. There have been pre-election violence. Yet, you're asking people to come out and vote. What is the guarantee that the pre-election violence will not spill over to an actual election day violence? Have there been any measures put in place to safeguard the lives of citizens who will be coming out to vote on the 15th?
All the members, the crew, television crew in the studio, and wherever I've been listening to all over the world.
We're also talking about vote buying.
All right. Mr. Honorable, allow me, please hold. It seems we have connected with Mr. Olabisi. Mr. Olabisi, if you can go on, please go ahead.
So everybody knows that the hallmark of a party in this country, APC, is the rule of law. So the party has not departed from that rule of law, which was laid by the founding fathers of the party. And we shall never, and we have never deviated from that path. So what we normally do is to legally, to follow constitutionally what is invoked in the Constitution as per electioneering. And we have never deviated from there. And I don't know whether you are in the States. Sometime last week, when there was a viral video of how the Accord Party in the state credited the account of all the civil servants, when it is not even during any festivity, no festival whatsoever. So what could we call that if not vote buying? So it is a vote buying. And you can never find my party doing that. People are genuinely, so without prompting, so without coercion. So they are freely identified with their party. it is not our practice. So to induce voters with any gift. So the way you see supporters and members milling around our governorship candidate, Ashiwaju Muniruddin, Paula Oyebanji, as they mill around him as hands due to sugar, it is not because of any pecuniary gain. So he does not even have the money to waste. So that is it. So people who are saying that the APC has engaged in vote buying. So they are only, such talk is a diversionary. It is a baseless. And it has no foundation. So they are only saying that in order to divert the member of the public from what they are guilty of. We saw there, I don't know whether you saw that the credit issue I'm talking about. All the civil servants, all the teachers, all the government workers. So they were all credited. Even National Youth Service Corps members. So they were all credited because of the vote. Why now? Why now? Why now? It was vote buying. So what they will realize is that it's very, very difficult for a bill to change its color. If whatever one does to get to the top, is a true dubious means. Eventually, if he navigates his way to power dubiously, it's a certainty that such a person will not depart from that. So what we witnessed in 2022 is a replay of what we witnessed in 2022 that is being witnessed now, when no fewer than 30 members of our party, so they were killed in an effort for the president and governor or government to control the government in the state. And out of these 30 members and supporters of our party, no fewer than 17 of them are from Ijashaland. So Ijasha has the highest chunk number of our members and supporters. So who are sent to heaven prematurely. So this is what they are trying to repeat this time around. And I want to assure us, the members of our party and our ever loyal supporters, that we have a full confidence in the ability and capability of the police to ensure that there is a peace. So during the election, we are enjoining them to come out and vote our candidate on 15th of this month. So since I was launched into this world about 6 decades ago, we have witnessed so many elections. There are so many, we experience something like this, but not up to this level. We have brothers who be killing brothers will be killing sisters, mothers will not know their children will not know their mothers. So it's quite unfortunate that it's getting to this level.
Mr. Olabisi, so that we can make use of the few minutes we have left on this conversation. Citizens of Osun State will be going to polls this Saturday. The incumbent Governor Ademola Adeleke, and his party claim they've made massive developmental strides across Osun State. They will point to projects like the 10-span Pier flyover, construction around Lagere in Ile-Ife, and also healthcare revitalization and fiscal responsibility and debt reduction, among many others. The last time there was an APC government in Osun State, the governor struggled to pay salaries, and he was paying half salaries. So why should the people of Osun State trust your candidate to even do better than the current governor, Ademola Adeleke, judging by your past history and performance in the state?
Oyebamiji, popularly known as Sambo. So he's the governorship candidate of our party, who, by the grace of God, we come out, we match the governor of the state in the forthcoming election. He has so many things working for him. Asiwaju Bola Oyebamiji is sufficiently lettered, and he's not a newcomer to government. It is on record that he had effectively served 2 governors as the commissioner for finance, 2 terms, which is rare in the history of any state in this country. And while he was in his private life, so he performed excellently as a banker, seasoned banker for decades, and he has served in so many banks, and he has no history of invitation by the EFCC or any anti-graft agency. He knows the problem of the state, apart from the fact that he's a son of a farmer who has passed through the crucible of farming. He's a farmer himself. He is a farmer himself because he has farms, so all over the place. And again, he's humane. And Bola Oyebamiji, he is not a satellite human being who will rely on his siblings before he can take decisions. Yes, he said there are bridges. Yes, I saw bridges just like the other people too. But the complaint that followed the bridges is should be something of interest. So right-thinking members of the society. There are some of the bridges, or the bridges that he said he has constructed. So they are not in consonance with the needs of the people. Apart from the fact that the cost of the bridges, they are high astronomically. Events have shown that we have a substandard construction of the bridges. It will be marvelous that the bridge, that of Lameko Junction, the thing came in. That bridge came in just about 3 weeks after it was commissioned. So they have been patching the bridge for the 4th time within a span of 2 months. So the same thing with that of Ife. It's a substandard bridge. That of Okefia is a substandard flyover. And some of the roads, he said they constructed in the state. Despite the fact that among us the money is coming from Abuja, through the magnanimity and financial wizardry of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who is allocating so much money to all the states. It's not only Osun State, and the impact of such is being felt in other states, while the story is not the same here. So as is on record that is a constructing road. The road they are constructing will become damaged in few days. So if you say he has performed in his own town, because if you go, I don't know whether you have the time to travel to his town. So without necessarily being accused of being against the people of Ede, because we have a credible people, we have people who are progressive minded in Ede. So that this governor, since he came around, he has engaged in selective development of the state. Look at the standard of the roads we have in Ede. They are not the same with what we have in other parts of the state. If you go to my town, Mudakeke, there is a road from Orita, ladies they call it, that goes to Samia Road. That place is a sorry site now. So, and that is the story in other parts of the state too. So he has the standard infrastructure in his own town, while there are substandard ones in other parts of the state. Aside the fact that he has spent credible analysis has confirmed it, that 72% of the resources of the state, this governor has spent it in his home state. So, and how about favoritism in the manner of the recruitment of workers? It is on record that Governor Adeleke is guilty of employing not only the members of his family, the people of his hometown, to some of the sensitive ministries, parastatals, public schools, tertiary institutions in the state. So who does that and gets away with it?
So, Olabisi, we'll pause for a moment. Let's just go on a quick break. When we come back, we'd like to hear from you, Honorable Olaomi, especially looking at the fact that INEC has deployed about 15,000 police officers. What does this mean for the election? But do stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. We still have our guests who are joining us, especially concerning the Osun State elections. 5 days to go, and it's a lot to talk about. Well, we have with us Strategic Communications Head in Mole Campaign Council, Honorable Jamiu Olaomi, who's here with us. Thank you so much for staying with us. And also via telephone, we also have the Osun State APC Director of Media and Information, Mogaji Kola Olabisi. Thank you for being here. Sadly, we have just little more time to go. But let me come back to you, Honorable Olaomi. 15,000 police officers have been deployed for this election. It's just 5 days to go. Do you think that's sufficient enough? Let's just try and see if we can get your comments to be very brief.
Be as brief as possible, but I'd like to make a reaction to what Kola Olabisi just said here. There's a road in Modakeke, Alakpata, Orona, to AP. It is at the backside of his own father's house. That road was last fixed in 1979. Adeleke has done it, and it is still there, firm. And this governor has constructed 300 kilometers of road. And if you construct 300 kilometers of road, including bridges, and you have need to repair about 250 meters, not kilometers, meters. Even the Lagos-Calabar road that President Asiwaju has commissioned part of is receiving attention. And if somebody comes on national television that Osun State government is receiving money from Abuja to magnanimity of the president, that means they don't believe in democracy. This is a federal government that has allocation structure for state and federal government. So people should not, because of election, to come and misinform, smear the image of a good performing governor in Osun State. That's for what he said. He said there was a road in Aledi Junction. That road is under construction. It has never been commissioned. And we are commissioning two new roads in Ife today, in Iglenagere alone, where we have the longest flyover in the state. That road connects people of Modakeke, his town, his community, with people of Ife. He cannot stand there today at the palace of Ogunshu of Modakeke and say that they has not worked and has not delivered. If you are trying to eke a living through media management, we should be truthful and factual. However, the police issue. INEC said 150,000 police or 15,000 police have been deployed. And like you said in our prologue today, this morning, we'll be happy if that is true. We'll be happy if they are allowed to do their works. We'll be happy if police become an unbiased security manager in the state. Let me tell you, some of us have not been sleeping in our house. They will just come at night with police to break into your house and arrest you. We have quite a number of arrests. And we have been trying, the governor has been appealed to members of his party, a member of the community, to not to allow for restiveness that would truncate democracy in Nigeria. However, if this continues, voters could be discouraged. Voters could be depressed. Voters could develop apathy. And that is not good for our democracy. We have one on good authority. They have been flying on social media, areas they are about to win. Even they are about to win the home local government of the governor. And they turn around to say he has developed his community. And they will say they will win that place. They are just, these are phantoms of statements, lies.
All right, we have 5 days to go, really, and our responsibility here as journalists is to ensure that we follow the story real time and bring updates, giving every party opportunity to be heard. And we're calling on law enforcement agents to ensure that citizens of Osun State come out, exercise their franchise freely, fairly, without any form of inducement or any fear of violence. Gentlemen, thank you for your time. Unfortunately, we're out of time for this conversation. We do look forward to having you again with us, and all the best to the Osun elections. We'll be on ground to cover it. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, now moving to our next story. This is Socioeconomic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, is challenging the 19 presidential candidates announced by INEC for the 2027 election to publicly disclose their assets and liabilities ahead of the polls. SERAP wants the candidates to go beyond the minimum legal requirements by voluntarily revealing significant assets, legitimate sources of wealth, and, where applicable, relevant declarations involving their spouses and minor children. The organization is also asking the candidates to publicly reject vote buying and electoral bribery and to commit their campaign organizations and supporters to transparent and accountable elections. SERAP acknowledges that the Constitution does not expressly require presidential candidates to publish their assets declaration before an election. However, it argues that voters deserve enough information to scrutinize the financial interests and integrity of those seeking control of the nation's resources. Joining us as we discuss this is Executive Director, Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center and the Chairman of the Board of Amnesty International Nigeria, Awal Musa Rafsanjani. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. Mr. Rafsanjani, are you here with us?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, great. Thank you for being here. So SERAP is asking all 19 presidential candidates to publicly disclose their assets and liabilities before the 2027 election. While we recognize that this is not a constitutional requirement, how legitimate is this demand for transparency?
Well, I think, as you all know, the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria demands that public officials, they declare their asset, and not only that they declare their asset, they should do that periodically. And in other places where they take accountability very serious, you see them even putting it in their website. If you check some other countries, you see leaders, public officials, they put their asset so that their citizens can see what they have. Sadly, in Nigeria, despite the constitutional requirements, many public officials, they don't bother to declare their assets, and what they do in some cases is to do anticipatory declaration, meaning you have 10 houses and you will declare that you have 50 houses, or you have maybe 10 million, and then you declare you have billions. We have seen this happen many a times in Nigeria because there's no proper investigation and confirmation from Code of Conduct Bureau or other relevant organs that are supposed to at least acknowledge that. So the calls that SERAP has made, it is in line with our constitutional provision, which is basically to remind public officials to do that. But I think additional request that SERAP has done is basically to help ensure that it helps the candidate to boost the confidence of the electorate on, on their assets, so that, the citizens can actually monitor their assets and then be able to confirm whether ill-gotten wealth had accrued. And then it also, it will also have really even the politicians themselves to prove that they have not, stolen public wealth. I think there are a lot of value, or advantage in terms of this demand, because it will really help citizens to know exactly what their leaders are having, and it will also discourage the use of public funds for illicit enrichment, as we have seen many public officials, when they go into government, what they do, they acquire or they accumulate public resources, converting it to their own personal uses. So I think, really, the demands that SERAP has done, it will help to expand accountability, transparency in public office and governance generally. And it is in the interest of Nigeria, given the kind of momentum looting that is going on in the country from some public official, that we actually demand full-scale disclosure of public officials.
Yeah. Nigeria is going through an unprecedented phase in its nationhood. We're dealing with insecurity and poverty at alarming levels. And oftentimes, when campaign season starts, it's almost like a musical jamboree, and the conversation is not elevated. As someone who's observed elections in the past, what level of scrutiny should we be giving to this presidential candidates as they approach Nigerians for their votes? What sort of questions should we be asking, and how do we elevate the quality of interrogation of this candidate ahead of 2027?
Ideally, in a normal democracy, political parties, especially when we are having a multi-party democracy, political parties, ideally, they should have manifesto, and they should run their election or campaign based on their manifesto. Their candidates are supposed to run their campaign on the basis of the manifesto that their party has. But because now in Nigeria, you see that people are just buying elective position. They use dirty money to secure victory. They use dirty money even from the party primary to more of like buy that, party primary election, not on the basis of competence, not on the basis of competence, not on the basis of track record, not on the basis of capacity, not on the basis of how articulated your vision based on your party manifesto is, but based on the fact that you have dirty money to buy up everyone, especially public institutions like INEC, like judiciary and security. This is what you see. People who did not deserve to be in public offices, they use the dirty money to do, not because they have public support. And where you have some public support, it is conditioned based on the poverty they entrench on people. So they will give you 2,000 naira, 5,000 naira, and buy drugs, buy, all sorts of arms to go and attack one another. This is the kind of scenario you see, unfortunately, when it comes to election, whether it is the presidential election, whether it is the other category of election, not on the basis of what a president or what the party of a particular presidential candidate can do to the nation, which is really particularly address issues of insecurity, issues of poverty, issues of quality education, quality healthcare system, creating enabling environment for businesses to strive, creating, in fact, actually helping to redeem the integrity and the image of the country. As you know very well, Nigeria's image is terribly bad out there. People don't respect Nigerians. People don't respect Nigeria because of the irresponsible behavior and character of some public officials, as well as some citizens that are not also being responsible. So part of what is expected of a presidential candidate is to lay how our foreign policy will have to market Nigeria better, reposition Nigeria better in the community of nations. Part of what a presidential candidate should be of concern is to ensure that the safety and security of the country is guaranteed based on even our constitution. But you can see that many of the candidates, it is not that much priority. So you just sometimes wonder, what is this desperation that some people want to be president or want to be governor when they have no clear articulation on issues that are affecting Nigerians, that are also desperately needed in order to address the gaps in our governance in Nigeria. So for me, a presidential candidate should have come up with well articulated, based on their party manifesto, positions on how they can make the economy better, industrialize the economy, how they can even make, not only improve the safety and security, but also even provide or manufacture arms that we needed to keep the country from internal and external aggression. See what is going on now all over the world. Some countries that are serious, they've been manufacturing weapons. They are not being so-called fraudulent of buying arms that never even reach Nigeria, because the amount of money we trying to buy arms in the last 15 years, if truly we are getting delivery of those arms, I believe that Nigerian security will not be lacking the required arms and ammunition that they can fight terrorism, fight insecurity in Nigeria. But because of corruption in the procurement in defense, we are not able to do that. And of the presidential candidate is also bringing out all these things to tell the public, or to tell Nigerian voters, look, if you vote for me, this is what I will do. Okay. They are running away from accountability, because making that commitment is actually empowering the citizens to demand for accountability by the time you get in there. But because they don't want accountability,
these are very key points that you've mentioned, and I think these points will go a long way to redefine how Nigerians would like to see their leaders in the future, be accountable for once at least, and that's a great thing that SERAP has equally done. But unfortunately, we're out of time. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us, especially on this topic. And we look forward to bring you back so we can discuss further on the future as elections are indeed edging closer. Thanks for your time on a Monday morning. Thank you. Well, away from that, we'll go on a quick break. Today is Monday, and on top of the hour 9, we do have conversations surrounding your future investments and, of course, when it comes to how you will live. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
This segment is brought to you by Zenith Bank,
Welcome back. For years, a father, mother, or family patriarch may spend their entire life building a business, buying properties, and creating wealth for the family. But when they are gone, what happens next? Who takes control of the business? Who owns the properties? And what happens when the children can no longer agree on who gets what?
Many families, these questions are only confronted after death, when emotions are high and disagreements can quickly turn into legal battles. But with proper succession planning, the wealth built by one generation can become a foundation for the next, rather than the reason a family falls apart. So, how can families plan ahead, transfer wealth properly, and keep the business alive across generations?
Big question.
Very big question.
And how do they do that? One year of generational wealth. That's a word or a sentence we hear oftentimes, that the father was able to build something. I mean, we can run through some of the big names. You have
7-Up.
Yes, you have that.
I mean, you've
here in
seen
Nigeria.
from generation to generation, a number of them, their grandfathers came into Nigeria to establish a business. And before you know, over the course of the years, their children got involved, their grandchildren got involved. And generational wealth is not coincidental. It's not something, there is a plan, there's a structure to which these families are able to keep the wealth within the family. It's not automatic, exactly.
If the father is tremendously rich, it must be transferred, and the business will be successful. There is a method to it.
There is a method indeed. And the method involves training. For a number of them, when you hear the experiences that they've had, they started working within the company at a very young age, where they were able to then build interest in the business. So for a number of people, and true wealth really is not just wealth that stops with one generation, it's being able to hand it over to the next generation. Even for those who are people of Christian faith, the Holy Bible says that, you know, a wise man will leave, what's the word? Joe, you are.
Ask me, no.
I cannot ask you. A wise man will leave an inheritance. Thank you, that's the word.
Yes, that's the word.
You did not know. A wise man will leave an inheritance.
Give you the verse.
Give it to me.
Leviticus chapter 14, verse 2.
Lies. Pure lies. Yeah. The wise man will leave an inheritance for his children. But leaving an inheritance cannot be something that happens by wishful thinking. It starts by intentional planning from the jump, ensuring that the family is interested in the business. For some of them, they go into the business as young as before they even become teenagers, when they're brought into the company, they're exploring, they're interning within the company, so they have some sort of a background. For some others, they even go to school to study courses that will help them be better prepared to be involved in the family business. So it is not coincidence, it comes with intentional planning.
Talking about intentional planning, I mean, if you take a look at the list, you'd also find, I mean, someone had mentioned there's Eleganza. You find these companies who have been there in existence, they've been there for a long time. Even family businesses as far back as, you'll say Heinz, you know, the beans and so on, how it started. Generational, you have wine companies, how they started from family to family. They entrusted it to the next generation, and they kept it running up until now. Same with major automobile companies as well, where the family started, then a single person started, then it now made it a family business.
And sometimes the patriarch doesn't have to have passed on before the children take over.
Absolutely.
We've seen that.
Yes.
I mean, with the AIM group, what has happened there is they started their business, they started the company, and even whilst the both parents are alive, we've seen the children take on different arms of the business. We've seen their daughters handle different arms, from the media arm to the restaurant business, and even to their architectural arm.
And engineering.
Exactly. We've seen it. And there's this thing, it's kept within the family, within the immediate family. However, there have also been cases where the reason why we see generational wealth not being able to pass down is that a number of families fail to ensure that there's adequate preparation for when the patriarch or the matriarch of the family dies. So when the founder dies, everything goes up in flames. For one reason or more. One would be that there are a number of families where this happens and there hasn't been a will put in place to ensure that there is proper allocation and assignment of responsibilities and ownership of properties. Usually the wealthy people, when the patriarch of the matriarch of the family dies, what we then see is the family is torn apart. People are fighting for the family wealth. Everyone is fighting.
And there's so many stories.
Too many. So it's your reminder right now, you know, if you haven't. And I remember in law school when they asked us, were learning about wills. And then they said, go home and ask your parents, have you written your will? Of course, you know the reaction a Nigerian parent would have. Come back home. Are you planning to kill me?
Are you trying to kill me?
Are you trying to inherit this, my Benz?
But the truth is, nobody really knows when death will come knocking at the door. And what you can do is to ensure that you are better prepared. Your affairs are in order. So if that were to happen, you are properly, you're properly...
it's a responsible thing to do.
It's a responsible thing to do.
And that's why, I mean, some of our cultural leanings often rob us off the wrong way, because it's similar to insurance too. Instead of you to ensure that when no one is praying for danger to come, but in the event that it happens, that you have some sort of cover. We'll say, God forbid, it will never happen to me. It will never happen. Why should I get a fire insurance? And then boom, it happens. So wills too. It doesn't mean you are willing yourself to die or you're praying for death to come. Death is
inevitable.
Inevitable.
I mean, when you were talking about this, it's one of the families that actually have passed on generational wealth, and one of the major setbacks they experienced was a fire outbreak, and all the main warehouse was burned to the ground. You know, if not for the resilience of the children that they were able to pick up and start over again with the pieces that they were able to put together. But
let's also mention, I mean, before we bring in our guests, just to make it clear, so there are lots of family businesses that, I mean, if we bring it back home for Nigerians to relate to it as we go into the conversation proper. You have God is Good. That's a family business.
Even Chisco.
You have Coach Charis, still pretty much, he's still involved. Chisco. Not really.
Yeah, but the
Chisco
son is
the son is there. You have Dangote. You know, Dangote has his daughters and so on and so forth. You have the MCMB Bank. You have the Orange Drug Company as well. You have a few of them. And then, of course, we can go ahead and mention them.
The nearest future, the Oliver Modi network will be inside that list.
You have Xenox Group.
And Benga Borough and Sons. Ventures.
What happened to your daughters?
You also have the Okoyas. Don't forget the Okoyas as well.
Yeah, that's Eleganza.
Of course, Eleganza Real Estate, Eleganza branched into other types of businesses and the likes. But then again, all of these businesses are businesses that we're talking about. The Otudekos as well. These are family-owned businesses. They stood the test of time and they're still on. And there's so many more. How can you set up a family business and engage in wealth transfer? We do have our guest who's joining us, an investment bank and public affairs analyst, a regular face on News Central, but this time let's tap in from his knowledge of wealth of knowledge concerning businesses and handing it over to the next family or generation. Mr. Nameka Obiarari joins us this morning. I can see you're all suited up. I'm sure your business and your company is also ready. You are ready to transfer it to your next of kin.
Not now.
Do it now. So the question is, should you involve family members in your business now? I mean, we've seen one on social media.
Going on with
Peter and Paul. No, how did you know? How did you read my mind, Benga?
Great mind.
How did you? I mean, we'll see what's happening with the Okoyes. Let's start off first with what is the step? What steps must you take to ensure that your business becomes a generational business that would lead to wealth transfer?
Thanks for having me. Firstly, that's what we call good corporate governance culture. Every business is established mostly. The first objective of any business is to maximize stakeholders' wealth. Stakeholders are beyond the shareholders of the business. Stakeholders include customers of the business. Stakeholders include governments. Stakeholders include your environment where you carry out your corporate social responsibility. So the objective of any business concern is to maximize stakeholders' wealth and benefits. And actually, business is actually set up to solve problems and add value to society. I share with you an example of one of the most prolific and illustrious businessmen out of Nigeria, Chinedu Echiro, the guy that developed HubSpot and sold it for $1 billion to Apple in 2015. He was a guy who schooled at King's College, Lagos, went to Syracuse University for his BA, traveled to the US for his master's at Harvard, and lost his way at the New York substations because there was no GPS, no distance to help people track and to know where to go and board their train or whatever. He did not bother to sit down to whine and complain. He just asked himself, if a smart guy like himself could actually miss his way, average intelligent people can actually do the same. So he then started thinking about how to provide software solutions, and that was how the company was vetted. And 10 years after, he made $1 billion selling it. So business actually set up to solve problems, both commodity supply or service provisioning. So the first thing any businessman, honest, sincere businessman, will always put in place is good corporate governance culture. Good corporate governance culture that embodies competencies, capacities, providing honest solution to the problem, daily needs of the people. Once you put corporate governance in place, even if you bring your family members in, everybody will adjust to the culture and they will learn, they will add value. I listened to you guys talk about God is good motors and some other entities that have evolved. It's not just that they involve their kids from the beginning. Firstly, they send them to school, good schools. They acquired good education. And then they came back, learned the rope, worked on the existing corporate governance culture. And the rest is history. And we also know of many families. And there was one particular family that practically owned the whole of Broad Street in Lagos in the 60s. There was also one of the defunct banks that had a former MD of the bank who had over 48 properties in Ikoyi and VI. Today, they are all gone because some of these businesses weren't built based on good corporate governance cultures. And that is why we always tell some of these guys who go into political office to loot and to just do other things. If there's no corporate governance culture in place, there's no way you can transit from the owners to his children and even those after him. And today we know of KFC. We know how KFC was bettered. KFC is over 100 countries. A man who retired from the Navy at 66. He knew how to bake and to make chickens, very sweet, finger-licking sweet. And he went looking for jobs. They could not offer him job or partnership. He started on his own. The company is over 100 years old. The man is far gone. The company is still existing. And he has a franchise in Nigeria because there was good corporate governance culture put in place. And the second one is the issue of insurance. Most Nigerians do not understand the place of insurance, not just property insurance, not just fidelity insurance, but even life insurance. Most people think that when you write your will or when you take life insurance policy, you want to die tomorrow. And that is why in Nigeria today, our insurance market to GDP is about 0.2, 0.4%. In places like the UK, US, and developed economies, the insurance underwriting premium is over 6 to 8% of their GDP. Because people understand the importance of taking out insurance policies that covers not just assets, not just every other thing, but also covers fidelity of employees and other things, and also covers the most important one, which is life and disability. And there are many products out there. I'm not here to market your insurance companies, but if you seek privately, I will share with you. There are a lot of private endowments in some of the top insurance companies, composite ones, that people can leverage on. And I've been providing advisory services on people on how they can actually protect themselves, protect generation after them, and ensure that the legacy that they built continue.
On a quick break. When we come back, we'll look at some of the issues concerning control and, of course, policies, how governmental policies may or can affect a family business along the line. But we'll go on a quick break. Stay with us. When we come back, we'll still be talking some more.
Welcome back to Breakfast Central. We're looking at how to establish families in such a way that we're able to pass down wealth from generation to generation. We're joined by public affairs analyst, Dr. Naimeka Obiariri. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you so much.
All right, you've spoken about, some of these businesses and what they've done, the structures they've put in place to ensure that the wealth is transferred from generation to generation. What would you say are some of the biggest mistakes that have been made by some of the businesses that have prevented wealth transfer from being possible?
Like some of the mistakes are, people are short-termic in nature. They don't think about long-term, and they also don't think about the collective interest of everybody around it. I say it with every sense of responsibility. Wealth creation involves multiple people coming together, pulling together their resources, their strength, their energies, their skills, and everything. There are 4 factors of production, and of all the 4 factors of production, the most important is the human capital. And when the human capital recognizes sense of ownership, they will go out of their way to add value to the business. You know, we talk about the wealthiest man in the whole world, Elon Musk. If you look at Elon Musk, does not own more than 25% of any of these entities that are churning out wealth that have made him a trillionaire in dollars. There are people who are contributing, not only him. I give you a typical example. And businesses must be founded to provide solutions to problems. Like I said it, when you see a problem, other people will complain, but what you will see is wealth, because all you need to do is to provide solutions to that problem, and you will draw from the well of wealth. Every problem is a well of wealth. Solution is the ladder that gives you power to draw from that well of wealth. Like I give you a typical example. I discovered clearly, I'm an investment banker and oil and gas trader, but decided to venture into agriculture. What was it? OLSS. Nigeria has no business housing poor and malnourished people. I discovered clearly that in this country we can be domestic self-sufficient in terms of food production. We can grow our agro wealth to over $500 billion annually. We can create over 1 million people become dollar millionaires through integrated, mechanized, and knowledge-driven agriculture. And we went into it, called some of my mentors, and we aggregated monies together. And it's very simple thing. There are assets that cannot die. When you do biological assets, if you go to the stock exchange today, the only two companies that have consistently paid dividend over the last 30 years, whether they're the cycle of boom or two, is Okomo and Presco, because they are in a sector that whatever you do, you must buy what they produce. So we went into biological assets. Like I said it here, Nigeria used to control 45% of the global palm oil market. Today, we don't even control 3%. We even can't even provide 40% of our domestic supply. So basically, we need to do 700,000 hectares of palm plantation, 120 million trees, and set up 1,680 cottage factories, each with capacity to do about 20,000 liters of palm value chain every day. And these are, all you needed to do was get the land, go into partnership with communities, with town unions, provide the right seedlings, provide the processing factories, aggregate the people, let them have incentives, so that they know clearly they're working for themselves. Everything they produce within the clusters you provide for them, where you give them industrial boards, housing and protection, belongs to them. And if you see what we have done over time, you will see clearly you're adding value to the people, you're adding value to the community, you're helping to solve a national economic food security problem. And above all things, your every stakeholder within the value chain knows that they are working for themselves and they're not working for you. And they're also helping you to contribute to solving the problems in the land. Once there is that transparency, once there's that integrity, once everybody knows that you're very, very open and that they are all working aggregately to make sure that every value is created, the business will not die. But the business dies when people begin to cut corners. And, you know, there was something one of these guys said. When the head begins to cut corner, everybody within the value chain will begin to cut corner. And that is how the business dies. But when the head sets the clear governance parameters, put the structure in place, everybody adjusts within it, that business goes on autopilot and continue to re-engineer and reinvent itself. At the end of the year, or the end of the day, wealth is collectively built, all-inclusive wealth. And I say it again, there is no part of life that does not involve this, whether private business or public service. These things are all, you know, straightforward. Okay,
all right, straightforward. There's no part of life that doesn't involve this. But let's look at, I hope we've not lost connection with Dr. Nnaemeka Obiari. Well, if we haven't, I wanted to ask a question that I had mentioned right before the break, that we do have government policies. So this policy sometimes affects businesses. How can families who are watching now this morning be better prepared for government policies? That's one. Secondly, we also wanted to look at other aspects as well concerning owning a business. Should the person who inherits a business necessarily be the person who runs it? Of course, we see employment as well. Yes, seniority.
Or experience.
Or better still,
because you may be seniors. Some seniors are seniors that, you know, should...
Or first wife, second wife, third wife. And does this wealth transfer, does it also occur in polygamous settings?
Yes, it does.
That's another one.
If a lot of people would have just really done the due diligence of, you know, you have the capacity to marry multiple women, then you have the capacity to sit down and properly assign who gets what. after your demise. It's very important because administration of estate kicks in after there's been a death, and unfortunately what then happens is they will then start fighting. They will fight in courts, they will fight in the court of public opinion, and at the end of the day we would see what a person has spent years building. Within a couple of weeks or months, everything just crumbles due to poor management. I heard a story of a family.
People don't even have to die before we see all of that. We're observing it with the current issues with Taya and Koinde that used to sing.
Taya and Koinde, for example, for those who do not know, he's of course referring to P Square, the twins, but...
And their brother, Judas. Jude.
Wow, you should have just called him Judas Iscariot now. But
that's just one aspect.
But I heard of a real life scenario of a family in this scenario that, you know, they are a very solid, wealthy family that typically had transgenerational wealth. And upon the demise of the patriarch of the family, the wealth has been squandered in 1 year.
In a generation.
In 1 year, everything took a deep dive. Properties were being sold. And the question is, did this, like, but this is not the first time. I mean, yeah, this is what somebody's life's work. And this is not even a polygamous family. It's a monogamous family. They spent years working hard, building, establishing their businesses in different parts of the world, not just in Nigeria. And all of a sudden, it just took one child.
Reminds me of that Nollywood movie when Hans and Uncle came back from abroad and it was made to be an Igwe. He didn't have the wealth of knowledge, the local where to do, and he squandered the will of his kingdom. Oliver, have you seen that movie?
No, I didn't.
As a Nollywood actress, the former one yourself, I'm surprised you haven't.
No, sorry, I haven't seen all Nollywood movies.
Okay. Anyway, we're told that our connection is not, we're not able to establish connection with Naimeka, but I guess this is where we'll bring this to a close. But for those who said for YouTube, I saw someone said he took his pen and paper and wanted to learn more. We're going to revisit this topic again for the benefit of those who plan to have a family, established business, generational wealth, and so on. So bear in mind, we're going to have a part 2 of this, and we'll have in-studio guests who would break it down for us, chops, pieces, breaking it down so that you can understand how to go about it. But we're out of time. Unfortunately, we're out of time. We have to call it a day. But let's quickly see how we can take just one last question with Dr. Obiari. We hear you're back. Can you hear us? Oh, okay, great. So we have barely just 2 minutes to wrap this up. Let's quickly wrap this up. Last question. I think, Benga, you were asking about families, inheritance. Yes. I remember, nuclear or better still,
polygamous families.
Polygamous families. How do they handle?
They are not better still, please.
How do polygamous families, how can they handle
this transfer of wealth?
Yeah.
You have to write your will and make everything clear ab initio. You look at Warren Buffett, one of the wealthiest men in the whole world. Warren Buffett, over the last 30 years, have made it clear that 99% of his wealth will be willed for charity. He had made it clear, so there's no contestations. I'm not sure any of his sons who are even up to 70 years will want to contest that which the man has openly and publicly asserted. Every honest, sincere businessman must, from ab initio, day one, make it clear. People must know where you stand on matters. It's not when you're gone, then the lawyers and your family or your testators will start having issues. From day one, I give you an example. Before I got married, I was very clear where all my assets will be willed. I stated it clearly, who is going to get what. It was very clear. Even in family meetings, before my mother, parents, and the siblings, I stated clearly, this is what we get to this person. So there's no debate. Whether a lawyer wrote it or a lawyer did not write it, or there's even a lawyer. So ab initio, people must be very upfront. You know everybody's capacity. You know their strength. You know their weaknesses. You must be able to state upfront so that there will be no ambiguity. When there is no ambiguity, when there is clarity, there will be no reason or room for anybody to be manipulated or for any dispute to occur.
All right. We'll just continue to hope that we have more of these conversations, so we can have less and less issues of chaos. But final issue. I mean, you had talked about knowing will at the end of the day. I think my final question, as quickly as possible, will be when will be a right time to broach the topic of writing a will? I was mentioning earlier how in law school they are told us to go and ask our parents to write their will. For those who come from transgenerational wealth, but still have family members or parents who are not aware of the importance of writing a will, is this something that the child should broach, a topic they should bring up with their parents? If yes, how?
Every responsible parent, every responsible adult must, as a matter of emphasis, prepare his will, take out robust life insurance policies for himself that protects his family even when he's no more. And like I said, it's not just life insurance. There are a lot of life insurance products out there that has endowment and contributions. It provides investments while also providing life cover. The return on investment may just be about 4% per annum, but there's a cover, and it's something you can put in for 15 years, for 20 years. If you're here after that 20 years, you can restart it again and take out what you have invested and share to those you want to share. If you're not here, the insurance company knows how to share it among your dependents. It is a money. You know, we are too religious here. You think, oh, when I write my will, am I dying tomorrow? I'm not dying tomorrow. When I take life insurance policy, am I dying? I'm not dying tomorrow. It's a word of setting records straight. Here in this part of the world, we are too religious, what I call religiously iberic. We don't understand the importance of transparency and accountability in everything we do. When you are transparency, when there's accountability, when everything is as black, as clear, crystal as black and white, there is no room for any trouble or misunderstanding.
All right. Dr. Barry, thank you for joining us this morning. We look forward to having you again to share your expert opinion. Thanks for your time.
Thanks. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, we're going to break, and when we return, we have more this morning, so please stay with us.
This segment was brought to you by Zenith Bank.
Thanks for staying with us here on Breakfast Central. As usual, we have our hands right on the stories.
And the pulse.
And yes, the pulse. Filling the pulse, most importantly. And we'll go straight to Osun State this morning. We do have our correspondent, Mr. Jibade, who joins us. We do hear of rumors concerning monies being shared so that people can start preparing their hearts and minds and their legs and their bodies, most importantly, their thumb, to vote for a particular politician or a candidate at the forthcoming elections this Saturday. Mercy joins us this morning. Good morning to you, Mercy. Can you give us an update? Who are the people behind you and what's happening?
I'm live in front of Osun State Government Secretariat, where the Osun State Labour, organized labour have come together, and of course with pensioners and basically all workers, stating a lot of things like Western embassies should issue visa ban on any politician that is culpable of corruption in the coming election. That is not the only thing they are saying. They are saying INEC is expected to be impartial in the coming election. That is still another one. And then they have lots of placards. Osun pensioners are not for sale, but then it would be better to hear directly from their mouth, especially, yes, the chairman of the Osun State Organized Labour, who would be speaking directly with us. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Okay, can you tell us why we have so much crowd here this morning?
Well, it's not far-fetched from the fact that everyone here is organized labor, also organized labor, workers and pensioners. We are here to register our displeasure on the happenings in Osun, and it's not far from the truth that thugs has been going around shooting here and there, and policemen who are supposed to do their duty, their job, out there doing nothing. That thugs in Osun State are moving freely, even at the point that a competent court giving a judgment, a warrant of arrest for a particular or some thugs who were shooting around in Osun State. The police are claiming ignorance as we speak to do the right thing. And as far as Osun State is concerned, the labor, we are major stakeholders as far as the country is concerned. Out here you see workers, pensioners here to register our displeasure. And again, on the issue of EFCC, we discovered they were not properly briefed or properly informed or well informed. But we are out here today to let the whole world know what really happened. In April 8th, on the April 8th of this year, the organized labor wrote the current state government to request for palliative for workers. Today, we are coming here with evidences. We wrote a letter to the state government to give workers and pensioners palliative. This will help to cushion the effects of the economic struggle in Nigeria. But surprisingly, to our own surprise, the opposition under Almajiri Itola, they wrote a press release saying the current government wanted to bribe the workers and pensioners of Osun State, of which they target vote buying. But we are here to share the light on it. That labor, Osun State organized labor, we are the one that requested for palliative for all workers and pensioners in Osun State. And our request was, we demanded for 20,000 naira. But we had a meeting with the governor, and he promised to pay 10,000 naira flat to all workers and pensioners in Osun State. It is not a crime to have a governor who is worker-friendly. It's not a crime to have a governor who believes workers and pensioners should enjoy their lives. We're happy to have him. It should not be a crime. Even if you want to come to power, why not follow the due process? It should not be a thing of you trying to come behind the door, from the back door. And we are here to say that workers and pensioners and the good people of Osun State should be allowed to cast their votes for whosoever that they want to do that. We are directing this to our own father, the father of the country, the father of Osun State, our president, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to please call these people to order. Let the police do their job. Their job is to protect lives and property of the nation, the good citizens. And like I said, we are major stakeholders as far as this state is concerned, and even the country. We are very, very important. And our people should be allowed to cast their votes. It is our constitutional right, our civic right. We should be allowed to do that. We are pleading now. And I want to say this, don't forget, many years ago, wet here, that like they say, started in Osun State. The answers we are talking about many years ago started in Osun State. We don't want war. Osun State should not be turned to a battlefield. They should allow every one of us to go and cast our vote, our civic right. And as organized labor in Osun State, we are saying no worker, pensioner, or good citizen of Osun State must go down on this election. Please, this is a warning. Enough is enough. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Now let's move to you. For some persons have said, how sure are we that we're expecting a free, fair, and credible election come August 15? What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, thank you so very much. As you rightly said that, how sure are we that we are going to have a free and fair election? That is our admonition. That is our wish, and that is our thought, and that is how we felt things should be in a democracy that we claim we are running in Nigeria. So, and that particularly is the reason why you see us gather here this morning, particularly to refute a kind of flying news which alleges that the government of Osun State, under the leadership of our able governor, Jackson Adeleke, is paying money for vote buying, which was tagged as vote buying money. I want to state clearly today that around April this year, we did meet with the state government in order to demand for palliative for our people to ameliorate the suffering brought about by the hike in prices of fuel.
in Nigeria. So as a result of that, we demanded for palliative of 10,000 naira for all workers and pensioners. And since then, we've been expecting them to do the needful, but it was not forthcoming. So in July this year again, we did a reminder. We wrote a letter again to reminding them of that to that effect. And we met and we agreed at that meeting that the government, we demanded as labor leaders 20,000 naira for our people. But the government did pleaded with us that they will be able to afford just 10,000 naira. And it was sealed and signed. Today, before we dispatch here, we are going to display that letter which we wrote in April as the received copy, so that everybody will see, whole world will see that we did wrote that letter indeed. Then, so we agreed to that in July that they are going to pay 10,000 naira, and they paid that for July and August, which make it 20,000 naira. Erroneously, maybe because people don't have their fact, all the details before them, so they misplaced it to be interpreted it to be a vote buying. So we are particularly here to clarify that was transpired behind the scene. Thank you so very much.
All right, thank you. My final question will be to the leader of the pensioners. You know how important it is for us to expect old people at this election. Okay, I'm coming to you. But then, now that they've assured us that this money is meant for the palliatives, what do you have to say? Do you think pensioners will still be able to come out? I'm talking about old and aged people for this election.
Surely they are coming out. We are solidly behind Governor Adeleke. This palliative is not the first time we've been demanding for it from different governors. But Oyetola failed to give us palliative during his time and increment. We demanded for it. But when the present governor came, we demanded for palliative and increment in our pensions. Because our people are getting 3,500 monthly, 5,500, 1,000. But it's this present government that increased the payment of pensioners since the time we've been demanded for increment. So it's no bribe at all. It's our own right, and it's a gift from God.
All right. Thank you very much. And finally, you've heard that he said it is no bribe at all. It is a gift. What do you have to say about that?
What I want to say about that is, you know, immediately after the new minimum wage announcement, there was a fuel increase from 700 or 800 to 1,003 something. Then we find it difficult that how will workers move around? Even the new minimum wage is no more in control again. We don't enjoy the salary because of the increase in petrol,
our viewers
petrol
have
price,
gotten the point
price.
here, but we just have to move quickly away from that. A great job, well done, Mercy there. Let's now move to Morocco, where we do have on standby a lady who presumably is disappointed with the outing of Nigeria's female national team. Onyinye joins us this morning. Good morning to you, Onyinye. What happened yesterday? How did that happen? So much. This is not what we spoke about.
You were optimistic, man.
Wow. Not literally.
We're not expecting this. I mean, Onyinye.
Beautiful Onyinye like P Square.
Really disappointing outcome yesterday. Joe, Benga, Olive, it's really... At the moment, I don't think I'm mentally, I've been able to digest all that happened yesterday. But away from that, I will tell you that it was the worst performance from the Super Falcons at the Women's African Cup of Nations. Never have the girls missed out on a semi-final of this competition or have been knocked out of a quarter-final of this competition. They have always made it to the semi-final of the competition. We did see them in a game where they began their campaign in Malawi in that Group C, when they got defeated by Malawi, a debutant in this competition, who have qualified for the FIFA World Cup. The Super Falcons have never failed to qualify for the World Cup since its inception, since 1991. And that's to tell you that we are reeling over a huge disappointment here, a huge dilapidated performance from the Super Falcons of Nigeria. Yesterday's game, we saw them in the first 10 minutes of the game trying to
get the balls, but losing the balls at all time. We saw a very hyped Michelle Alozie in that encounter. Everyone predicted that Alozie would be the loophole in this game. And she indeed became the loophole because at fouling the Cameroonian player, and that resulted to the free kick that we saw from that encounter. After the second half, we saw a rejuvenated Super Falcons. They were keeping the ball more. The possession was now better because we could see that Nigeria had a 60% possession ahead of Cameroon's 48%. We could see that the momentum had changed, but we still could not be clinical in front of goal. Just because Cameroon had paraded a very wonderful goalkeeper in the person of Micheline, and she was really good on the day. She came out on the day for the Indomitable Lionesses, making saves. She's got 19 saves in this competition, and she also is a goalkeeper for Benfica women, and Benfica women have been doing wonderfully well in their league. So you could see that we had a force. We had a force as the last man in defense for the Cameroonian side, but we could have had a chance to equalize the game in the last minute. As at a time when 7 minutes was added to the full 90, we had a chance. Esther Okoronkwo could not just be a team player and then, play with Asisat Oshuala, who was brought in as a substitute at that extra 7 minutes. Nigeria missed their chance to qualify to get an automatic ticket to the FIFA World Cup, Women's World Cup in Brazil. But we've been hearing a lot of apologies from the players, from the coach, who says he takes the fall, he's taken full responsibility for all that, but the attention is turning out to the playoff, where they've got South Africa on August 13.
Remember when the Super Eagles, we also had to play South Africa in the playoffs, and we lost. I hope it won't be lightning striking twice with regards to Nigerian football. But how much of this performance, and not just the Falcons, the under-20s, national football teams have not been performing in the last few months and years. Is that an indictment on Nigeria's football administrators? Because the current NFF Secretary General and the President are going for re-elections. Is it something we need to monitor, our football administration?
Yes, indeed, Benga, you're correct, because we've been pushovers. Our under-20, our under-17 cadet players, they have been pushovers. They are no more the strong African force that we would always boast about. We know before now that the Super Falcons will always turn up, even with very little friendlies, even with very little preparation into a competition like this. But right now, the die is cast. Like every single African nation have been able to go back to the drawing board, get their act right, dot the I's, cross the T's, because Africa has moved on away from the regular experience football. As they say, experience will make us win. Experience will give us the title. It's no more like that. We saw a game between Morocco and South Africa. I tell you, I got so worried at watching that game because I said whoever wins this will face Nigeria, having the confidence that Nigeria would defeat Cameroon, because I saw momentum. They were matching energy for energy. I was seeing some great tactical play between South Africa and Morocco. And at the end of the day, we are seeing this, that the Super Falcons of Nigeria have declined when it comes to how they have got dominance on Africa, because every other nation have been able to go work on themselves. Cameroon did not make it through the qualifiers of this competition. They did not qualify through that route. They qualified after the Confederation of African Football expanded this tournament to 16 teams, and they qualified due to their rankings in the world rankings and also on Africa. Now you can see that the team that did not go through the qualifying route have just decimated a record that has been set for years of the Super Falcons of Nigeria. Now they've picked their ticket, automatic ticket to the FIFA World Cup. You know there's trouble. We've got the election from the Nigerian Football Federation coming up on September 27. On the day when the Super Falcons lost to Cameroon, lost an automatic ticket to the FIFA Women's World Cup, that's the same day, early in the morning, we had our under-20s. They got beaten by Burkina Faso 4-1. And now they've missed out on an AFCON for under-20 and missed out on a World Cup ticket. So it's been a decline. Nigeria will have to go through a route, a longer route. Now you have South Africa to play in the playoffs. If you win South Africa, you go to the Intercontinental playoff, which we played around November, December this year. If you have to win that, then you go through the final again, and that will be February 2027. We don't have to go through that route because we had everything in our hands to get this ticket. But right now we're going through the routes that the Super Eagles also had to go through, making it to the World Cup. It is not a good thing. It's an indictment on the federation, and also a lot of FAs now losing confidence. No vote of confidence for the current administration of the Nigerian Football Federation. I had a conversation with the General Secretary, Mohammed Sanusi, yesterday after that game, and I wanted to know what is the reaction coming from the administration. And he says they're going back to the drawing board. The attention will be to get the playoff, face South Africa, beat South Africa, but they're going back to have conversations.
We'll
27th of September is the next election. We'll wait and see after all this is played out if the current administration will still
Let's hope in here that they will do that. Let's hope that they would get to qualify. It's sad. We're starting to see our football. A lot is happening with Nigerian football, but we're happy that Onyinye will be joining Jasiri so you can get more information. Thank you so much, Onyinye, for speaking with us this morning on Breakfast Central. It's been a full edition.
3 hours.
Starting 3 hours.
And we have to go now.
Au revoir.
Yeah.